This is an ASMR interview for W Magazine. I'm going to take you through the sounds of my career. Bulgaria is an Eastern European country next to Romania and Greece. It also happens to be the place of my birth. So I was born in Sofia, which is the capital of Bulgaria, and I left shortly after the wall fell, when I was about 1 or 2 years old. And at the time, because of communism, it was really difficult to get out of the country. So my dad actually had to book a flight to Cuba, which was another communist country, because you weren't allowed to travel anywhere other than communist countries. And so when the plane stopped to refuel in Canada, he got off and never got back on the plane and stayed in Toronto. And that's how we immigrated. And then my mom she got a visitor's visa to visit some family in Michigan with my brother and I. And then from Michigan, once we landed, we drove to the Canadian border at the Niagara Falls, and my mom walked across the Niagara Falls with a 6-year-old and a 2-year-old in a suitcase. And that's all we had to our name when we arrived in Canada. And to represent Bulgaria, we have roses here that are the national flower of Bulgaria. Wow, these are so pretty. My precious. Ooh, these smell good. You can't get smells in audio, but take my word for it, they smell beautiful. Does it hurt when it touches the microphones? So, as I mentioned before, roses are the national flower of Bulgaria, and there are literally roses everywhere, and rose oils. It's my most distant and longest memory. They say that you can get sense memory from all kinds of things, but for me, the sense of smell, and especially roses, remind me of my childhood in Bulgaria. We ended up actually going back to Bulgaria when I was 10 until I was 12, and I had to go back to school there. Not back to school, I had to go to school there for 2 years. But little known fact, European education is far more advanced than ready to retire. The Vampire Diaries. A few years after I finished Degrassi, I got the show called The Vampire Diaries, and I was 20 years old at the time. We were filming, and my 21st birthday came up. And a fun little fact about that, I decided, as anyone does, that I had to have my birthday in Las Vegas because I was finally legal to drink in the United States of America, even though in Canada the drinking age was 19, so I was legally able to drink there for 2 years already at that point. And let's be real, if the legal drinking age was 19 in Canada, I started at like 16 or 17, and because I'm European, I really started at like 13 or 14. So I was a seasoned drinker by the time my 21st came, but you wouldn't know it because it was a big night. And I flew my entire cast of the show from Atlanta to Las Vegas, and we shot, because it's a vampire show, we shot into the evenings usually. We started at, I think, 5 p.m. on the Friday night, and we didn't wrap the show that night until 7 a.m. on Saturday. And our flight was at 8:30. The whole cast, the writers, everybody. Once we got on the plane, we'd been up all night, and we decided to stay up on the flight and start celebrating my birthday. By the time we landed, we got into a car, and we started the day celebration into the night. Stayed up that night as well. And all of us got back on a plane on Sunday and then had to be on set Monday morning at 6 a.m. But it was okay because the creators were with us, so they couldn't get mad at us if we were tired the next day because they'd been out with us partying the night before. And now, in honor of the Vampire Diaries, I'm going to play with some props. Does that make a weird noise? Guess the song. Okay, so these are, I believe, real vampire dentures. Fun fact about vampire teeth is that you have to suck in your saliva a lot when they're in, because you can't properly close your mouth and your tongue doesn't fit in your mouth anymore. Another fun fact is that I am really afraid of blood. So you can imagine how enjoyable it was for me to work on a show for 6 years where I had to be around blood. Technically, I was being paid to have to be around blood, but I had to fight the urge. Sorry, I spit there for a second. I had to fight the urge of vomiting and fainting every single time I did a scene when there was blood involved. It was gross and really, really difficult for me. Just like wearing these teeth are right now and talking. The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I had not read the book yet, and I had a meeting with Stephen, who wrote the book and was going to be directing the film, and it was a really great meeting, and the script blew me away, and ultimately working on this film was absolutely incredible, and it meant so much to so many different people. It was a very impactful book, and I feel like it was a beautiful film in the end. A really good adaptation, but of course it would have been because the writer directed the film as well. I had a very tiny part in this movie, but I'm very proud to be a part of this film. We have the real, physical novel. Anyone under the age of 15 might not know what these are. This is called a book. It's made of paper. Back in the day, us old folk, we used to read these things. We would sit, before we had phones, outside and flip the pages, and this is what it sounded like. There was no Instagram, no Twitter, no Facebook, no Snapchat, none of it. These were our friends, and we followed them just as much as they followed us. Everywhere we went. To the toilet, to the park, on airplanes. And this book was a great one. I'm Upset. The music video. So, a few months back, I got an email about joining the I'm Upset music video by Drake, and it would be a reunion for the cast members of Degrassi: The Next Generation. And obviously all of us were really excited to jump on board and be a part of this, because it was not only a reunion on screen, but also a reunion off screen. It had been over 10 years since some of us had seen each other, and it was really cool to see where everyone was in their life and their career, and we started the show, and now all of us are full-fledged adults, and it was really fun to get everybody together one last time and shoot in the real hallways where we shot over 10 years ago as kids. We have some party red Solo cup fam, which is short for family. And now, last but not least, Fam is the new TV show that I'm filming right now for CBS, and it's different than anything I've ever done before, which is both extremely exciting and absolutely terrifying because it's live in front of an audience. So think Friends, but about family, even though Friends was kind of like family oriented because they were the family that they chose to have around each other, but ours is about family and complicated relationships between my sister and I, my half-sister and I, my new fiance on the show, and his parents, and the terrible relationship that I have with my father. So bad that I've told my new fiance that my dad is dead, that he does not exist, and that I don't have any other family members because I never want him to meet them, because I'm afraid that if he meets them, he won't love me anymore. So, of course, in the first episode, a bunch of people show up and destroy this perfect little fantasy world that I've created for myself. And to celebrate my return to television, we have some remote controls that I will play with. So I mentioned earlier that I was terrified about doing this show, and that's mainly because I hadn't done theater or performed in front of a live audience in that capacity since I was in my performing arts high school in Toronto when I was really young. So the first couple of episodes, I was really scared. I haven't been this nervous in a really long time. Is a comedy, and it's shot in front of a live audience, and you shoot it kind of like a play. You have to memorize the whole script, and there's about 300 people in the audience, so if you make a mistake, everybody is there to watch and see it. So there's a lot of pressure. I'm a perfectionist and I hate making mistakes, so I definitely was terrified. But what's odd to me, but kind of makes sense, I guess, is that the audience, oddly enough, prefers it when you make a mistake. They like seeing the mess-ups, and they laugh even harder when you screw up.
Hi, my name's Margot Robbie, and I'm doing an ASMR interview for W Magazine. I'm gonna Google it straight afterwards because I don't know what it is. I feel like we're in a library or something. I'm from Australia, the Gold Coast, in Queensland. I love the ocean, obviously. I love my family. They're an Australian thing, so I can say that. I love Vegemite. I definitely ate Vegemite as a child. Everyone does. It would be super weird if you didn't, but it is an acquired taste. This is what it sounds like. That's the sound of my childhood. Take it slow, maybe add a slice of cheese with it. It can be a lot just on its own. I moved to the United States when I was 20 years old. I love it. I got a job pretty quickly, and I got to go to New York for the first time, and I was working on a show called Pan Am, which is about flight attendants in the 60s. This is an authentic seatbelt from 1963 when the show was set. You can tell that this is proper vintage. It's not. Here's the sound of the seatbelt. Wait for the satisfying bit. 60s is. Also satisfying. The smell is really bringing back memories of my first American film, which was The Wolf of Wall Street. I played Naomi, and she is the wife of stockbroker Jordan Belfort, who was played by Leonardo DiCaprio. She was... This bit's less exciting. Hold on. It gets to the good bit. That's probably my favorite sound in the whole world, actually. Fancy.
No sé qué decir. Estoy practicando hablando así. Hola, W Magazine. Bad Bunny por aquí. Y vamos a hacer un poco de ASMR. 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 A mí me encantan estos, y yo mucho no los comía. Por eso no quería comérmelo porque... El sonido del mar es muy fácil de escucharlo en donde vivo. Y este es mi sonido favorito. Me gusta escucharlo mucho cuando estoy trabajando canciones nuevas o ideas nuevas. Me calma y me da un tipo de musa diferente a la que siempre tengo dentro de un avión. Puedo seguir hablando del mar aquí. ¿Quién se come todo esto? Está cabrón, mi alma. Ya pues si no me lo como todo. Diablo. Siento que estoy haciendo una feria científica. Me gusta cocinar. Incluso eso era lo que pensaba hacer si no tenía éxito en la música. En serio, cocinar. Cociné un poquito en la cuarentena. baloncesto, el boxeo, todo, la pelota, béisbol. Pero me gusta mucho el baloncesto, aunque soy un pésimo jugador de baloncesto. Pero fue parte importante de mi juventud, jugaba todos los días con mis amigos y mis hermanos. Desde niño siempre me gustaba la lucha libre, el entretenimiento y todo eso. Tenía mis propios storylines, mis propios personajes. Y ahora soy el campeón 24/7 de la WWE, ¿qué te puedo decir? Monté demasiado chapstick. Ese sonido es el sonido del coquí puertorriqueño, un animal intrépido, muy travieso, que vive en la isla de Puerto Rico y suena por las noches. Depende si sale a janguear o si no.
Nos gustaría, porque sé que estuviste en un coro, ¿verdad?, de la iglesia cuando eras niño.
Oh, wow. Aleluya. Tuve muchos éxitos musicales dentro de ese coro. Hay uno que decía, Jesús está pasando por ahí, Jesús está pasando por ahí, y cuando Él pasa todo se transforma. Había uno que me gustaba que decía, si tuvieras fe como un granito de mostaza, ay, eso lo dice el Señor. Si tuvieras fe como un granito de mostaza, eso lo dice el Señor. Tú le dirías a la... no me acuerdo, pero ese estaba bien pegado. ese sonado y ese lo usamos para cerrar. La iglesia se volvía loca con ese.
My name is Emma Chamberlain, and today we're going to be doing ASMR with items that represent key moments in my life and career. Let's do it. I've done ASMR, like, in real life, but I've never done it on camera. So I'm really excited to do it on camera for the first time. I'm nervous. Cheerleading. I was a competitive cheerleader for like 5 years. I didn't really do high school cheer very much. I did for like 1 year. Got kicked off the team. That's a story for another day. But cheerleading was a big part of my life. It was one of my passions. Too bad I suck at it now. When I was a cheerleader, I used to make little montages of my cheer competitions. And I would edit them together in iMovie. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that definitely helped me learn how to edit and got me to where I am today. I did take cheerleading very seriously. I mean, to be quite honest, like, it was pretty much all I cared about for 5 years. So, I mean, even to this day, it's still a pretty big deal to me. Even though now I don't do it anymore, so, like, I probably shouldn't care about it. But it's a very big it's a life-consuming activity. You forget about everything else when you're, like, it consumes every day of your life. To represent my time as a cheerleader, here are the sounds of pom-poms, ASMR style, I guess. Oh my god, how nice is that? Honestly, this might be like making your ears hurt, I feel like, but there's no way for me to know. I also don't care. That was an exciting sound. Whatever. You know, honestly, my old cheer coaches are probably so pissed at me right now because they're watching me crush the pom-poms. And when I did do high school cheer for a year, that was very not allowed because they would get all crumpled up and then they looked ugly. And cheer coaches love the aesthetics of things now, don't they? YouTube. So, I started YouTube like 2 years ago when I was sad and lonely during the summer of 2017, and I tried to start a channel a few times, and then this time something was different, and I wanted to keep doing it, which before I just would make a few videos and then quit. So now here we are. I think the hardest part of this whole journey so far has been just how much work I've had to put in. Not had to is a bad way to put it. Like, the amount of work I've had to put in. Wait, I used had again. That's not the right word I'm looking for. The amount of work that goes into it is very draining and exhausting, but also so rewarding. And also great for learning. Like, learning how to work hard. That's a thing, in my opinion. And, that's been the toughest part. I think the first time I ever read a positive comment, and as I continue to read positive comments, it definitely makes me feel really good. I mean, it's like, it makes my heart feel warm. It makes me feel like I'm doing something good for the world, and I like that feeling. And it also makes me feel connected to you guys, which is obviously something that I love and want. I think having something that you're passionate about, that you can put your energy towards, is it's really important. And honestly, it's really important, and it's crucial for having a solid mental health. I mean, I'm not saying I have solid mental health. I don't, but it's definitely helped me get to a better place because I have something that excites me and makes me want to get up in the morning and work on something cool, and that's really important. I love coffee a lot. I mean, it's definitely at this point, it's like a second part of me. It's like a second part of my body. It just, I don't know, it's basically like another limb. To represent my time on YouTube, here's my coffee recipe. Okay. Why did I forget how to make this? Now I have an espresso machine. Fuck. Okay. Just saying. That was a bourbon ASMR. Don't know if you guys heard it. Hopefully you did. Whatever. Okay. So, why do I literally not remember how I did this? Whatever, don't tell me. It's good for me. This is a good challenge. Wow, that's actually a nice sound, I'm not gonna lie. Sorry, you have to put a lot of ice in here. It might be a while. Oh my god, I swear, I'm making a mess, guys. Okay. Nice. Okay. Listen to that. That might. Okay. This is heavy. I'm gonna probably die. Listen. Oh my god. Listen to that. Hold on. Whatever. That one didn't work. Okay. I didn't fill it up with water enough, but that's actually fine, because I think that makes it stronger, and I think that could be really good for us. Whatever. Someone in here is gonna hate this. I don't regret what I did. That sounds like what it, okay, wait, listen to this. That's what my stomach sounds like when I drink a whole bottle of water and then go for a run. Retweet if you can relate. Oh, this is good almond milk. Wow. So, guys, this is a big moment. I need more ice. Hold on. Why do I care? Honestly, the reason why I'm putting so much work into this coffee is because I want to drink it. Like Loki. So that's why I care so much. I'm nervous. This is gonna be good sound. This is gonna be good sound. Listen. I think maybe it won't. It totally is. Now that's nice. Oh my god. Almost done. I'm a mess every day. There we go. It was a process, but we did it. I don't think I did the ratio right. This is way too... whatever. Pretty good. Oh god. If I was a Louis Vuitton bag, this is what I would look... Excuse me. This is what I would look like. I don't... whatever. How do I close this again? I'm like, forget. Okay, there you go. Sorry, that was a burp. I feel like when I have to burp, I just have to burp on camera because it just feels right. It's like muscle memory. Oh my god, did you hear that sound in my throat? I hope you guys heard that. Okay, whatever. What a sound. I was not expecting that. Now that hits. What's even in this? What's this? Oh. Hi. Is that a mirror? I literally just realized that my makeup is peeling off. And I just want to say that I'm sorry. Like, I can literally see it in this mirror. Wait, hold on. Oh god. Oh my god, why is my skin so dry? I thought it was summer. Anyways. Stupid Genius. Stupid Genius is my podcast that I came out with maybe like 2 months ago. It's a new addition to my life. But I've been loving doing it. I love recording the podcast. I love thinking about the podcast. I love listening to the podcast. And I love wearing my podcast merch in public and being conceited because wearing your own merch is a little bit weird. I decided to start a podcast because I love to talk, and it just seemed like it would make sense. I've always loved science, and I thought it'd be cool if I could incorporate my talking science together into a podcast. I was really good at science in high school. Freshman year, I was a year ahead in science, and then sophomore year, I was in like the hardest chemistry class or something that you could take in my school for that class was insane. And I actually got A's in the classes. Somehow. I don't know. I don't think I had a life back then. I didn't do anything fun. I just studied for science. I don't edit my podcast. I have a producer and an editor. And yeah, they help me out because it's not physically possible. I'd not be able to do a podcast without them, and I'm very grateful. I was talking about it with my producer, and we kind of were like trying to figure out how we wanted to structure the podcast and like what kind of little things we wanted to throw in there. And we thought it'd be fun to do a word of the day because it would help me get my mind moving towards the right direction so I can answer the question. Because some of the questions are hard and I don't know the answers beforehand. Like, I genuinely am guessing everything. So I needed a little boost. I think something that people might not know is that it's pretty, I feel like it's pretty, like, raw. Like, even though the podcast itself is really structured, like, it's not, like, super planned or super calculated. I just walk in, I have a question to answer, and I answer it, and I have fun with it, and then I talk a little bit more about my life, and then I go home. It's not, like, super planned, if that makes sense, because it is a really structured podcast. I've wanted to have a podcast for a long time, and it just never happened because I didn't have time to do it myself. I also didn't have a good concept that excited me. So after a lot of brainstorming and a lot of work, we did it. And I'm really into it right now. It's been really fun for me. So yeah, when we were like just filming kind of like demos of podcasts, like, so they weren't real episodes, just like practice runs. I've recorded one. The first one I ever recorded actually was what's the difference between hot-blooded and cold-blooded, warm-blooded and cold-blooded animals. And that was kind of like a hard one, and I remember having a lot of fun answering it, but then it never ended up going up because it was like the first episode and we weren't in the groove yet. So I'd love to re-answer that one to represent my podcast. Here's the sound of me slicing an onion. I hate onions. Anyways. Why is this onion so hard to cut? Oh my god. Why was that so difficult? I want it to make me cry. Hold on. I'm not crying. So, okay. Why was that onion so much easier to cut? What happened with the other one? What happened with it? Oh. It's happening. It did happen. Holy, oh my god, ow. I like really put my eyes too close up. Okay. onions make you cry? Because, wait, I actually have to remember. Was it like, okay, I forgot if it was either one, because, is it because, okay, I think it's because when you cut it, the juice like flies into your eye, or two, when the liquid inside mixes with oxygen.
Hey, W Magazine. It's Hailee Steinfeld. And we are about to do, you guessed it, some ASMR. So I grew up in Los Angeles. Hence, the Los Angeles candle. My favorite place, the beach. You cannot come to LA and not go to the beach. If you do that, I don't need to know you. You might be wondering why I'm holding pom-poms. Well, let me tell you. I was a cheerleader for about 6 years. My favorite thing about the whole thing were the pom-poms. And that my brother played for the football team, of course, so that was cool too. But it was really like the pom-poms. My favorite performance in Pitch Perfect that I'm not in would probably be the riff-off in the first movie. But my favorite one that I am in would be our finale moment in Pitch Perfect 2. Because flashlight. Duh. In Pitch Perfect 2 and 3. That was really the first time anybody heard me like sing, if you will. That led me to my first record deal with Republic Records. And I put out my first single called Love Myself. And now I'm working on my first album. So, I would say the biggest difference between film and TV were how fast you move. And I'm talking an entire episode in under 2 weeks, okay? I'm used to taking an entire day for like a page. I like my time. I like to take my time. I am so proud of this show, and I'm so excited for you to have 3 beautiful seasons of a beautiful story. And I hope that you hold it dearly and close to you and cherish it forever. There is really very little that we do know to be true about Emily Dickinson. But one thing that never ceases to amaze me, within each and every poem, you can read that shit hundreds of times, and each time unpack something new. Something with humor, something with emotion that you didn't necessarily catch the first 1 or 2 or 10 times. So, her poetry lives on. If you don't know it, you should. Emily's poetry is so fearless. She really doesn't hold back in her writing. And I would say that when it came to my own writing, after the fact, after having embodied this character, I felt like I was able to take this more fearless approach and write in a way that I didn't hold back. So I did just that. I wrote some of my yours truly. Picture it going that way. Beanie Feldstein. She's my backwards name twin. Just flip it and you got Steinfeld. This is what W Magazine sounds like. I only make things from scratch, but I have to say that I think sometimes the taste of a packaged cake is very fun and reminiscent of childhood, and so I appreciate the packaged cake today. And for going back to my childhood. Hey guys, I'm Gigi. Today we're doing ASMR with W Magazine. We're going to do a sonic tour of my life and career. Let's do it. My first modeling gig was for Baby Guess. And I was, I think, 2 or 3. And it was always like on the beach or somewhere that we would go and play. And it was really fun for me. Kids weren't allowed to work for that many hours, so we had like a game tent. And we got like an hour to go play games together, and I just thought it was so fun. Well, it was Baby Guess, so we wore a lot of denim. Like denim jackets and little shirts and stuff. Shirts with like little slogans on them. And now we're gonna play with some baby clothes. To represent my start in modeling. There's a little button. I actually should have said this earlier, but I actually started riding horses before I started modeling. Even like before I could walk or do anything, I was riding horses. We had a farm in Colorado, and my first pony was a miniature pony, and my mom had like a tiny saddle made in Holland, where she's from, so that I could ride. And I got bucked off every day, but it made me a good rider. I was never scared of horses. I was more fearless then than I am now. It's hard to say how many horses I've had, because sometimes you own a horse and sometimes you ride one for a little bit of time, or sometimes you ride it for someone else. So I've had connections with a lot of different horses that I feel like were mine, but weren't really. There's a lot of them. But recently, I bought back a horse that I rode when I was like 15 years old that I competed on, and we won a lot together, and he went on to teach a lot of kids and even took a lot of adults, like older adults, and was really good to them. So now we have him at my farm, and he just is retired, and I take him on trail rides and stuff. Now we're gonna play with horse things. Horseshoes. I used to have, like when my horses would get shod, I used to take their hooves and hang them on my like bedboard in my room. Nail them.
you about all the parts of the bridal, but I don't know if you want to know it. Okay. Whose bridal is this? All right. This is the bed. And when the horses play with it in their mouth, it actually calms them down. They like the taste of the metal. And so when you hear them chomping on the bit, it like sounds like this. Then the leather. The leather doesn't really make that many sounds. What about this one? This is called the nose band. And pretty much all of these things sound the same probably when you put them together. In 2014, I had my first fashion week. And my first show at Fashion Week was a show I'm not going to say, so you can't look it up. And it was disastrous. Because no one ever taught me how to walk before. And I think that's what people don't realize. Like, I learned as I, started doing it, and I still learn every day that I'm on the runway. And you can try and make fun of me for it. But the designers want me in their show, so I just try to get better. Now we're gonna listen to some shoes on a catwalk. My first show I ever opened was the same week in 2013. It was the Jeremy Scott show. And he gave me so much confidence and made me feel so good. And I feel like from then I've been getting better. So thanks, Jeremy. I love you. Okay. You know what's hard? Walking like you walk in shoes with your feet. I mean, with your hands. Also shoes. Also, what people don't understand is how much pain we all go through during the shows with the shoes. All the girls, it's kind of like what brings us together in sisterhood is that each show has a different kind of pain level and experience and hardship with the shoes. And they don't always have your size, and sometimes you have to edit your own foot pads so that your foot doesn't slide around. Also, sometimes the shoes aren't made yet to be sold. They're just fake shoes for the runway. We're not naming any names, though. Something I love to do is cook, and a couple years ago, I was on MasterChef and I won. So now we're gonna listen to some cooking sounds. Baking sounds, I should say. I only make things from scratch, but I have to say that I think sometimes the taste of a packaged cake is very fun and reminiscent of childhood. And so I appreciate the packaged cake today. And we're going back to my childhood. Okay. shoes that I designed with Stuart Weitzman, and a lot of the proceeds went to Pencils of Promise, and together we built about 80 schools with everyone's support of the Gigi boots, and this was the second one called the I Love in Guatemala, Ghana, and Laos. So these are the I Love Moors, and this talks about how I designed these because I put the evil eye on them too, as a symbol of power against evil things and just keeping good energy near you and not letting bad energy into your life. So they all have evil eyes on them to protect whoever's wearing them.